Alrighty guys, I am back with round 3 for this deck here, and just throwing the deck up on the screen again because I'm actually taking a break. I believe I drafted this on Friday, and now it's Monday, and I am here to finish off the draft. And one thing that I always recommend doing if you take a break in between your draft games is to just take a second and just look at the deck, remind yourself of what you drafted, and don't just immediately jump into it. Remember that, like, oh, okay, I've got some Abyssal Mauls, so I want to set up for those. I've got Alloyin Strategist, so I want to make board states where those things are going to get set up. That's maybe the biggest thing, that I have, like, 1 Nexus Pilot and 2 1 Nexus Pilot and 1 Nexus Tech, or 2 Nexus Tacticians, wherever they are. Yeah, here they are. So I kind of like to remind myself of those things, so that way I think it's just good practice. Good practice to just remember what's in your deck. And let's try to find a match here. That was the other thing that I was going to say. If possible, what I will do... Now, this deck obviously has a 4 of, which is super unlucky, as we've talked about. But if it doesn't have a 4 of in it, then what you can actually do... This isn't like you're not going to get the best practice out of it, but what you can do is you can go and you can build your deck, and then you'll just be able to play it and actually just get in some practice games. Because one thing that is like different between this game and like Hearthstone in particular is you're actually getting all of the cards that you are adding to your draft pool. So that's pretty cool. One other thing that I did want to briefly mention is that Forge Guardian Beta is getting a slight... I don't know what the opposite of a nerf is. It is getting a slight bump, though, in power. I believe it is receiving 2, then 3, and then still 4 armor. It's a very, very small change, but it does make it a 5/5, 8, 11, and then 20, 22. So this card gets a lot better in draft. It's probably not going to be enough better in constructed, but there it is. And my opponent plays a beta of their own. So I could play Nexus Tech, and then I could play a beta, and we'll actually positive battle there. It seems reasonable. I could also just play a Hulk and a beta, but I think I like Nexus Tech. Card does some pretty silly things. So let's go for that. We're only positive battling by 1 here. 3 plus 3 is going to give us 6 health. Because of all the Alloyin Strategists in our deck, though, this Nexus Tactician can probably fend for itself. We just throw down a Strategist here, and then we throw down like a Technosmith either in 5 or in 1. And that will be pretty good for us. Our opponent has a Nexus Tech of their own. Okay, so those betas are going to trade off, and that Tech Explorer is going to get gobbled up by Alloyin Strategist. Actually, I guess it'll get gobbled up by Technosmith. That seems like that'll work too. One other thing to point out is you can check what cards your opponent levels. They've leveled a Grove Huntress, so they are AU. But you can check that stuff in the log. Let's go Technosmith leveling up Technome. And we can just battle. Strategist isn't going to sway this battle here at all, nor is it going to sway this battle. This is going to be a trade, and this is going to be a positive battle regardless here. Nyxian Marauder's pretty good. Tech Explorer's good. And both of these spells are meant to be underdrops. So we definitely want to level up these 3 cards. This hand kind of straightforward here. My opponent's probably going to put something in the center lane and then something to positive battle Techno here. Alright, well that is a trade with Techno. So that's fine. We're not going to be able to... Oh, actually, right. No. That's why I said my opponent should put something in the center lane, because now I can just move over Strategist, and we actually get to turn this... This is going to be actually a negative battle now that my opponent's pumped this. But just by moving Strategist over, we'll turn this back into a trade, and we can even turn it into a positive battle with Aegis Conscripts here. So let's go ahead and do that. Just trying to figure out... I do think I really want to play Tech Explorer, and especially because we're not even falling behind on this player level. Let's just go like this. Play a 3-3. Level up this boy. Play an Aegis Conscripts for a positive battle in lane 5. And then changing this to a positive battle as well. So our Techno Smith will hang on as a 7-1. And we'll draw another Alloyin Strategist and a Blight Skull Phantasm to round out the player level. This is kind of the combo like I brought up earlier. Alloyin Strategist to pump my creature's attack. And then... Alright, so that's going to be not as good. But if we can pump my opponent's attack with Strategists, that still works out great. And then pump their toughness with Aegis Conscripts, Group Meal, and Nexus Tech, then we've got a pretty big army there. So that's a -3/-3. I could level some A-bombs, but on a rank up, I think I gotta go for Blight Skull. So let's hit my opponent for 4. They're gonna hit us for 3. That's fine, and then we'll positive battle this here. So I decided to just not put any damage on my Blight Skull. I could have put 3 damage on it. It would have been a 5-3. Maybe that would have just been better. Alright, we get to play a Tech Explorer here, leveling a Blight Skull Phantasm, and then a Alloyin Strategist, which will hopefully change the tide of battle somewhere. It seems unlikely. Okay, well now I can Alloyin Strategist my Alloyin Strategist and get a nice positive battle there. So I think I battle first. But I don't have to. I could just move this over and clear this Nexus Pilot now. There's definitely some punishes there. Alright, let's just take it out. Oh, and that even gets through a little bit of damage here off the Blight Skull. So, you know what? That's fine. Yeah, we only throw away 2 points of damage by this play, and it's a little bit safer for sure. Alright, we've got some Abominations. That's the route that we want to go. And then we also just have some solid Alloyin cards to pump our attack points here. So either of those work, really. Alrighty, that's a reasonable play, but we can finish it off with a Field Marshal or a Dr. Frankenbaum. Alright, and this I believe we will just dodge. Though we could dodge and play a Strategist right here. That could be pretty good. Alright, well now the Strategist... No, the Strategist will still be enough. What we could do is we could move over this Strategist, play a Strategist 1 here, and then just play a Field Marshal across from Wirewood Ranger. Don't think I hate that. It gets in 20 points of damage as well. Means we're going to take 8. But my other play would just be a guy here and a guy here, which would be like Dr. Frankenbaum here, and then Abyssal Maul here. Shrinking this? I think I'm just going to play my Alloyin cards. Now they could, if they have a pump or some armor, they can obviously turn this back in their favor, but I'm trading a level 1 card for the entirety of this level 2 card here. Oh, I actually hit my opponent for 22 damage because of the Field Marshal as well. Technosmith and Onyxium Marauder. Might want to level up this Grave Pact just so that it can destroy level 3 creatures on rank 3. But we seem to be in a pretty good position as this game kicks off here. My opponent's going to try for a double chump block on Asperian Wartusk. No, they're going to go for chump blocks in random lanes. That's probably not going to be good enough for my opponent here now. Alrighty, so let's play this. Let's move this guy over just to hit my opponent for a little bit more damage. Hit them for 22 again. And then I think I'm just going to level up Grave Pact, like I said. I would have much rather seen my opponent, instead of playing both of those cards to chump block, play one card to chump block, and then play the Volt Tech to finish off the Tech Explorer. That way they at least would have killed my cards. But now what's going to happen is now they're going to draw their level 2 cards. Sure, they would have taken a lot of damage, but they're going to take that much damage anyways. So now, right, they're going to draw their level 2 cards, and they're going to have to trade off their level 2 creatures with my already damaged level 2 cards. Whereas this Grove Huntress could have positive battled this Alloyin Strategist anyways. Alright, they are going to get to keep around this Grove Huntress by putting both of the pumps there. But still, there could have been much better situations for my opponent here. I'm going to level this up, and I'm going to smack my opponent for 18 after playing this Strategist to pump my Tech Explorer here. Yeah, like if they had not made that play, they actually would have taken the same amount of damage. They would have taken 8 on their turn from my Alloyin Strategist, and then 8 on my turn, where this guy wouldn't have dealt them any damage. Alright. They get a good draw here to kind of help supplement their plays. And that is going to have to pump itself if it wants to trade, but it could pump here. I think it's going to pump itself so that it can trade. It does. Okay. Ooh, we're 1 off. 4 plus 6 is 1 off. So I think because Blight Skull will die here, so I think what we're going to be doing then is just having a Tech Explorer get a buff. And we're going to move this Strategist here so that we can get in a little bit more points of damage. And then we're going to go Tech Explorer level beta. And Blight Skull would have just traded here, so we might as well make our deck a little bit better. We hit them for 10. This is going to get in for 16. This is going to get in for 9. So 16 will put them down to 13, right? Or 17, I mean. 9 will then put them down to 8. So we only need 8 more points of burst damage. There is a level 1 with a level 1 trade. That is totally acceptable. And then are we going to see like a... No, we can't really see anything big enough. I guess they could have the... Yeah, there's a card that they could have had here. Alright. My Strategist loses and cannot gain armor. My Nexus Tech actually gets to positive battle this Spitter. So that seems solid to me. I'm going to smack him for 14, like I said. And I think I am going to block with Nexus Tech here. It's a little bit awkward, but I don't have any other good plays. 2 of my creatures are center lane creatures, so kind of just have to run it out there anyways. And it's not like a buff. Like, my opponent can buff this to trade, but it's pretty unlikely they're going to be able to buff this to positive battle with how low toughness this has. They'd have to give this +10/+10, at which point, you know, They're not doing anything else with their turn. They're playing 2 Grove Matriarch 3s, both pumping the Spitter. They're just going to die to my mobility creatures. Alrighty. They got a good trade here with Technosmith. That is a great trade, actually. And they don't finish off this. Meaning they should just put something in the center lane here to finish this off. They do. Okay. I'm just going to play these monsters. I know I don't get my trigger. Wait, is this almost mislethal? 9 plus 9. No, it's not quite enough. I'm 1 off. Yeah, so if I Aegis Wings this and moved it over, I would have only been able to hit for 18. Now I can't even Aegis Wings it. But I'll just play 2 level 3 cards, battle my opponent down to 10, and that should be good enough here. Not going to move over my War Charger because my opponent's got enough that they have to deal with anyways. My life is at a very, very comfortable 104. So I am certainly not looking to mess with that here. Alright, we've got a Chump Block with a level 1 Tangle Sprouts, and likely another Chump Block here. Okay. To make a positive battle, not bad, but they're going to take 14 on my turn, and that'll be all she wrote